Hello, hashtag here. Just something that struck me after seeing a video of someone out and about in the past week when the temperatures were only 3 degrees with their legs showing. Don't do that anymore. I've got the t-shirts in the loft and those are my brave young days. Whereas now I know it's actually not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for your knees for a start. So what we're going to do is some basic guidelines about winter riding, winter bike riding. If it's above 5 degrees, I don't think there's any limitations. As long as you dress properly, I don't think there's limitations. As soon as you go from 5 degrees or under, some sportif organisers, as soon as it goes under 3 degrees, they actually cancel the event. But it's manageable as long as you stay on good roads and have your appropriate clothing and your layering, and you keep your intensity fairly moderate. To 0 to -5, it's okay if you're an experienced rider and you actually can hold your bike well, but I would avoid high intensity, and I'd be watching out for ice, and I'd only be on treated roads. But as a rule, most of hashtag athletes, as soon as it goes sub 3 degrees, they're indoors. I think even if you're a very experienced rider, anything into 0, I think indoor training is strongly recommended. So get an indoor trainer if you haven't already. Now, when we talk about clothing, you need to stay warm. Keep your core warm and everything else will be fairly warm. Moisture, if it gets cold, is not a good thing. So you need to have clothing that will actually wick away the sweat. So you need to have good clothing and not be too sweaty. You need to block the wind, especially if you're going fast on descents, if you live in hilly areas, because you won't be able to actually pedal hard on descents. I would use modular layers, so you can actually adjust your layers mid-ride if you need to. So plenty of layers, so you can choose. Essential winter kit, I would say a good base layer. Merino wool is always a good thing, or synthetic stuff that'll actually, again, wick away the sweat. A mid layer, it can be a thermal jersey or it can be a fleece. And an outer layer, which hopefully would be windproof, either a soft shell or a rain shell. Lower body, no bare legs. It's been known to buggy your knees up. I've already said that. Thermal bib tights. A lot of them have wind resistant front panels now. So yeah, when it gets really cold, you've got to have thermal bib tights. I wear bib shorts actually under my bib tights. So I get double the layer around my core. In extremities, we're talking about hands and feet. If your core is temperature is up, then hopefully it radiates to your extremities, but the hands and the feet are usually the first things to go. So buy yourself a good pair of winter gloves. Use liners. A lot of gloves have liners, or a lot of them, like Spats, for example. I'm not promoting Spats, but they actually have a add-on lobster shell that actually goes onto their winter gloves, actually built in to the tops. So an extra layer if it gets really cold. Waterproof overshoes. They're like wetsuit kind of material, neoprene wetsuit material. Again, Spats have boots which are really good and really thermal. They have a fleece inside and they're neoprene on the outside. Bit expensive, mine, but they do the job well. Wool socks. Merino again. Don't double your socks, because if you double your socks, you actually restrict the blood flow, and that can create problems, cramping problems later on in the ride. For your head, you can have a thermal skull cap, or a cover or a cap that actually goes underneath your helmet. So that'll take that off. Also have a neck buff. I actually use a neck buff in temperatures from 5 to 10 degrees around my neck, and then as soon as it gets colder than that, I actually bring the back of the buff up onto my head, put my cap on and put my helmet on, so I've got my ears covered. So a buff can actually do all of those things. Pro tips are keep your core warm and your hands and feet will be warm. And on climbs, for example, extensive climbs, you can open the zippers on your layers, and then as you descend, you can close it. Bike setup. Let's go for bike. You need wider tyres. Going around corners, freezing cold, near frosty conditions on the old 19 mils as I used to ride, bit dangerous. Whereas nowadays, there's a lot of bikes out there that have tyres as wide as 28, 32 mil. You can have 45 mil on gravel bikes. So a lot of people are going for gravel for winter this time. Lower pressure, don't need them up at 100 PSI anymore. You can have them down at like 65. Gravel bikes, I think 45, even less than that, depending on the terrain you're on. So also consider the tyres, which compound you're using. You don't want slicks for the middle of winter. You want something with a little bit of a grip on it. If you don't know about tyre choice, contact hashtag and we'll let you know. Components, you don't want your best bike out. If your bike's the only bike you've got in the wintertime, then so be it. I'd probably stick to indoor training. But if you have a bike that you like to wreck, as my phrase, then just accept that the chain needs to be more durable. And if it isn't durable, just accept it's going to wear out a lot quicker. Make sure you clean your bike after each use and you lubricate your chain. If you leave it and then go out the next day with loads of mud and grit on it, it will wear more. Mud guards. Use mud guards. Nobody likes sitting behind someone without mud guards. Even if they're race blades, is better than nothing. If you're riding on your own, I would suggest an arse saver. You can get these little plastic things that just sit in your saddle and they stop all the spray from going up your backside. But if you are riding in a group, then maybe a set of mud guards, even race blades, would actually be a good thing. And the way the industry is going at the moment, disc brakes seems to be the favourite. If you're on a rim brake bike, then it takes quite a while for you actually to stop. On a contentious issue, visibility. Yes, motorists should watch out what they're doing, but they don't. So we need to take responsibility ourselves by wearing some form of high visibility clothing, whether that's a helmet cap or whether that's lighter upper body, front and rear lights, even during the daytime in the winter time, is always a good option. I run a double rear light at the moment, and I've got cameras and I've got front light flashing as well. So you know, it is what it is. Try and do the best you can so you can be seen. They'll always say I didn't see you, but as long as you're lit up like a Christmas tree, then you know you're doing the best you can to be seen. That's all my advice. Was going to be 3 minutes, but it's 8 minutes, so we'll leave it there. Okay, any questions, just message us and I'll do my best to actually answer any queries you might have. Ciao for now. Let's crack on.